Hello, and welcome to day 14 of the Genesis of Androzani Advent Calendar for 2019. And, as you can see by the setting and the cast we have here, I'm sure you can all figure out exactly what this is going to be, can't you? It means we are continuing Worst of Classic Who with the power of Kroll.
Yay, finally.
Finally, after all this time. But before we get into any of that, I have a very important question for you, Adam.
Oh god, yes.
What do you call two octopus or octopi that look exactly the same? Identical.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, spoilers. If you haven't seen all of New Who, spoilers, because we like to discuss stuff all the time.
Yep.
So if for some reason Jake accidentally clicks on this, get off it now.
Go away, Jake.
Yeah, go away. Don't ever watch any of these videos. He actually, he's actually started going into the Patreon now.
Oh.
He joined the Master Tier, which means he has to request a video for us to do now.
But he supports this channel.
But he's in the channel.
Why doesn't he just... Oh god, he's a confusing one.
Anyway.
Hi, Jake.
But speaking of Patreon,
Yes.
patreon.com/GenesisOfAndrozani if you'd like to contribute to the channel, or get access to the extended calendar from days 26 to 31 that'll be taking place after the days 1 to 25. Because usually early access is the day before, but this month it's a bit different. But in a normal circumstance, you'll be getting early access to pretty much all our videos. And there's also exclusive access, and there's requesting videos for us to do. It's all there. As well as twitter.com/Gandrozani, where we all like to...
You say we all.
I and
The royal
and
we.
everyone else in the world except for you likes to discover what's going to be written on our tombstone. You know, what quote, what led to our death, didn't you say? Remember to comment on this video because for two reasons, I believe. I can't even... It's been so long, I keep forgetting all the different things I have to go through.
So there's
Yeah,
an episode for us to defend that you think is
Oh yes,
underrated.
here it is. Yeah, you're right. You have to, if you want, request an episode from New Who for us to defend against Hell Bent, because obviously that's what this Worst of series is about, which we do at the end of these Worst of Classic Who videos. Also, if you think that there's a Classic Who story that should be added to this list here, which in fact someone did, which is why Death to the Daleks is now on this list.
Okay, interesting.
Which was requested by Azmat Mahmood.
Hey!
And I haven't seen it, so I was like, fair enough.
Yeah, we'll watch it and see what we can do.
Death to the Daleks. So, but yes, if you think there is a Classic Who story that's not on this list, that is one that I haven't seen, because I've seen quite a lot of Classic Who, so you just got to bear that in mind. I'd be willing to put on this list. Basically, it has to be from like Tom Baker onwards, because I've seen pretty much everything that's not on this list from the first 3 Doctors.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That's mostly pretty good.
Yes. But apart from that, is there anything else we want to say before we start? No? One thing I can say though is, Tony, you have seen this story before, haven't you?
No.
No, you haven't. You've seen.
I've seen a snippet.
Ah.
Because the first time I talked to you about Doctor Who at work.
Yeah, a friend of mine had the VHS. Test 1 2 3. Can I get a quarter pack and a... a friend of mine had the VHS set, I think from the early 2000s or something. So I briefly saw that when it was running on
yeah.
the old VHS machine. For those of you at home, that is all. Hello, my number one fan out there.
Yeah, I remember the first conversation we had was you said you remembered the episode with the squid monster.
Yeah, I remember the thing with the... And what is it, like a marsh setting or something like that? Was it?
So.
Yeah. Somewhere outside anyway.
Yeah. That's about as much as I know about the story as well.
Yes.
Yep.
That is all.
Yes, but it is what it's our... How many Tom Bakers in a row? So we had
6, I think.
We had... last was Invasion of Time. Before that was Creature from the Pit. Before that was Nightmare of Eden.
Yep.
And before that was Dominators.
Yeah.
Which was Troughton.
Yep. And then before that was the Colony in Space.
No, before that was Warriors of the Deep. Before that was Colony in Space, which was Pertwee, and then before that was Arc Infinity, which was Davison, and then Leisure Hive was the first.
Yep.
So this is our 4th Tom Baker in a row?
Yeah, but 6 all up.
5.
This is the 6th, because we've got Leisure Hive, and then those
Those
4.
4, so that's 5.
Oh yeah, 5. They all blend.
Math is hard.
Yeah. Especially when you got home at 3 in the morning.
Alright. Well, that's another story.
Um,
Anyway, should we get on with the Power of Kroll?
no.
Oh, what should we do then?
I don't know.
Watch Genesis of the Daleks instead.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Nah. But yes, let's watch the Power of Kroll, which is from season 16. I've seen the Ribos operation recently, so I do have some context for this season. I understand what the Key to Time's all about, and I've gotten a story with Romana 1, so I have an idea of where this is going, but I don't at the same time, because I haven't seen it.
Fair enough.
But it's written by Robert Holmes, so let's go.
Alright.
Here we have Power of Kroll DVD, which comes with a special sticker, as do all the Key to Time stories. I should have brought the box there because it's this beautiful big purple thing, but I didn't. Maybe for the Armageddon Factor I'll do that. But we've got the big Kroll monster here with the key segment there. It's very simple, very basic. The story looks very green overall. Seems to be the whole vibe. Key to Time Story 5. And, oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's nice and simple.
Yeah, very simple. Doesn't spoil anything.
Yeah.
So, let's go.
What year did this come out? Was it 78 perchance?
Season 16? Yes.
That makes sense. Because I can feel just on the look of the uniforms, the Star Wars influence.
We're only set to check your approach to the pack. Any secondary plotting will just... You would risk it. The's nothing out of swamp. Not even.
The swampies were given weapons that could well lead to them attacking.
Are they saying swampies like a racial slur?
I think so.
Likely to arm the swampies. They will
Looks like Jack Nicholson a little bit.
Which one? The guy with
The one on the right,
right.
the sideburns, yeah.
Yeah.
Not as animated though.
Yet.
Yeah.
Is there word again? Swampy.
Yeah.
Swampies and swampy.
Oh.
The word of the day.
Canine's marooned.
Oh,
Hey.
Maroon 5.
I feel like Willy Wonka. Oh no, stop. Please, come back.
I know. I'll try the higher ground here.
You try to high ground there.
And serve it Alec. I have the high ground.
That is a Pertwee-esque vehicle.
I was just thinking the same thing.
What is he, Gandalf? He's about to smoke something.
He would have been a good Gandalf.
He's still alive, right?
Yep.
So what would he be now, about 80? So,
Oh,
84, I think.
84, yeah. Because he was in his 40s when he was doing this, I think.
oh, yeah.
He was 40 in season 12.
Yeah.
Same age as Christopher Eccleston in series 1. This feels like it could be a William Hartnell story.
Yeah.
But like a little bit more... Oh, there we go. But like with a little bit more like political subtext.
I love this green, really,
He
really...
created a musical instrument out of straw.
Yep.
The boys.
Honestly, that thing looks really fun to drive. Look at those boots.
Oh well.
Here comes Peter Davison.
This is about the time in the duration that the 7th Doctor got killed.
He looks like he should have an Australian accent.
Yeah, he does. I'm very torn on this at the moment because I love the setting, but the swampies are the cheapest possible thing I've ever seen in my life. Just paint them green and put a mop on their head.
But if the story's good enough, it can overcome that for sure.
I realise that.
Does he actually have an Australian accent? He does.
Get out your rust place for rainstorms. That's why it's so wet.
How do
I can't tell if it's a British person trying to do an Australian accent or an Australian trying to do a British accent.
He sounds like he's a smoker.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any air in his voice.
It's all very,
Wow.
it's all very bass down in the throat. It's not showing on camera, but there's a bottle of Mountain Dew there. The opposite of sponsored. This is an anti-sponsor video.
There's only one specific meal that I have Mountain Dew with, and that's curry. I don't know why.
We are creatures of habit, I suppose.
60 caliber gas operating stations. They're old. Oh, they need cleaning. The Sony's got to know me out of the crates.
Isn't it? Is this like Robert Holmes' 42?
Kinda.
I feel like.
Because the thing is, like, it's got his usual, like, engaging dialogue and you know, good pacing and such, and ideas, but they're very kind of.
Very level, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not. It's not obviously first episode of 4, but it's not fully. Because some of his other stories just grab you by the throat immediately,
Yeah.
and be like, "No, you're coming with us, and you're
Yeah.
going to enjoy this, or you're going to hate this, but you're going to be confronted, and you're going to feel some kind of way about it."
They look like they've got old school necks on them.
Yeah, they look knitted.
Seems to be a very like religious tribe, I think.
Well, it seems to be a lot like the Musket Wars here in New Zealand, actually. That's what it reminds me of.
These are Hartnell era side characters.
If they're in black and white, they'd look.
Yeah.
Guarantee you, he's going to kill one of those guys by the end. Probably this guy.
I feel like this story is badly placed. It's too deep into Doctor Who. This should be early. You know?
Because it's not bad by any means.
No, but it's too early. Sorry, it's too late for this kind of story to take place.
It's a very early feeling.
Because it doesn't, it's, yeah.
It's not bad, but it does feel like Robert Holmes. Not necessarily phoning it in, but, you know, just not giving it all his heart.
Here we go. Kroll.
This is very much like Kong. When they're chanting for Kong before.
So I imagine this big squid monster is like their god.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this? Fury from the Deep?
I was just thinking that.
I want to ask whoever directed this story, what do those wheels do?
Yeah.
Formula One.
Yeah, maybe that's just how they drive the rig.
Right, yeah, standing up. At hip level. I like how under it he's like, my people are making a blood sacrifice. And you can tell he wants to be there doing it.
Yeah. But clearly he's somehow been captured and enslaved.
This is one of the busiest Tom Baker outfits I've ever seen. It's everywhere. It's all over the place.
The long like thigh-high boots and the plaid pants with the pockets, the big pockets at the front, and then the long scarf. Obviously, it's very eclectic, and all the geese pins.
Just don't get your scarf wet, because that will be annoying.
It looks like that filming this would be freezing. That's just the vibe I get. It's probably like rural Scotland or somewhere. The Satan Pit. And the Doctor's just there in the infinite blackness.
I like how time's passed. It makes I suppose the pace of these episodes earned.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it also gives you a sort of geographical idea of.
Yeah.
It's a good way of making this probably quite small shooting area feel much bigger. Feel like one big cohesive space.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that there was
Yeah.
the gates on either side until they closed it. I thought it was just grassland that was flat.
There you go. Whoa, that's a great shot.
I love that. That dude's got obviously he's covered in green, but he's clearly like a very, he's got a presence.
It was weird, like the very last shot looked like it was filmed on an HD camera.
Because it was probably filmed because it was outdoors.
Possibly.
a bit noisy there on the back.
John Nathan Turner, production unit manager.
Yeah.
When in the dark, it's really like noisy, man. Like I think the lenses those days were pretty,
Yeah, it was real hard.
substandard.
Yeah, especially on a BBC budget, it'd be so hard to light something like that.
Yeah, it's like filming with potato.
Norman Stewart.
Never heard that name before.
Not me.
There's a standard Norm Stewart came in for the day. Give Norm Stewart a ring, will you? Need a director. It's all the way from Australia.
He's doing nothing.
When you said Norm Stewart, I was thinking of like Norm Maxwell and Dave Hewitt. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, maybe they merged together.
Well, maybe it's a pseudonym for the two rugby players that weren't even adults yet at
They're
this point.
LGBT.
What, including people that are literally children to write for the show.
I mean, the absorber off.
Well, yes. Maybe the Kroll monster was written by a very young Norman Maxwell for no reason.
Maybe.
Black from nowhere.
Who knows?
The elves and the...
Oh, the marshland.
Yeah, the marshland.
Yeah.
Very similar to that.
Yeah, it looks like it's on film. In fact, the skin colour
Yeah.
reminds me of Ang Lee's Hulk.
Yeah.
It's the exact same colour
The
used.
tone, yeah.
Are these all just descendants of Ang Lee's Hulk?
Probably. Checks out.
See, look at that.
Yeah, that's great.
Beautiful.
Yeah. There's some really neat direction in this. This
Yeah.
mushroom crab thing. Nah.
Look at these
It's a fake. So they've got a phony monster?
Apparently.
That was terrible aim. Oh, I like that display. This is going to cross into daytime. I know it because I've seen shots of it in daytime that we
Yeah.
haven't seen yet. G'day, mate.
What is it? Noel brought us a message from Mitch. The Dreyfus are planning
What's
to
his name?
attack us
The
at dawn.
crocodile hunter guy?
Oh.
Steve.
To attack us.
Steve Owen.
If he was still alive, he'd look like that.
Yeah.
But that wasn't what.
G'day, swampies.
All I'm saying is that you're not ready to fight yet.
He sounds American.
Stay here.
What the hell?
Trapped stand no chance. But
But he's English, but
spreading people across
Maybe he's Irish. That would explain why he rolls his R's but doesn't have yank
Yeah.
slang.
or it could be from Dunedin.
ambush them on the lakes in the open. Even if you succeed, you won't pretend.
Succeed. That was a very Aussie. I can't pin him down.
He's an Aussie plum.
Yeah.
This has all the Doctor Who tropes in it.
Yeah.
It's got a tribe that's colonised, and the person that's colonised them is looking for a resource.
Yep.
And it's got like the tribe as like a god monster.
And there's one guy who's sort of
Yeah.
morally grey in between.
Yeah, atmospheric cinematography, comedy.
What's the next picture coming up?
I don't like how those switches look like teeth.
Tsimsha.
Is there something drifted up?
You can come apart from your own ship was it whatever followed you down.
He looks like Topher Grace.
Yeah.
There's Topher Grace, Jack Nicholson. I'm trying to figure out who the third guy is.
Looks like bloody.
He's been here with us, so he couldn't have done much.
There's an old TV show called Fish.
But if he's got friends out
The actor who played Fish.
So what have they been? Oh, I intend to make quite certain of it. Water and slept.
So it's like the Sarlacc if it wasn't a pit, if it was actually above ground.
Like out of the. Yeah, if it was a.
That water sound. Here we go. Go shoot some crocs. I think I know exactly what this is going to be. I think I know exactly what's about to happen. It's daytime. Oh! Jesus. Here he is. Horizon Squid. Kroll! It's exactly like Fairy from the Deep.
Hasn't this guy acted in other stuff?
I think so. He's familiar, but I can't.
His face is massive on his head.
It's like, yeah, it's got abnormal.
He looks like a Thunderbird's puppet, but real.
Those scanners are 400 yards apart.
That's quite cool. The fact that you can see that.
Kroll is real!
This is the...
Seize them.
This really is Robert Holmes 42, isn't it? So... It's like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just sort of there.
Yeah. It's kind of noise.
Got a lot of money. He's the best part of the story, isn't he?
Yeah.
Are they just sitting there waiting for Kroll? Are they just sitting there waiting for Kroll?
I think so.
Oh, there we go.
The Great One. Condemn the prisoners to die by the seventh Holy Ritual.
The Great One.
Take them to the place of execution.
Silence!
I want to know...
Of the Great One. By denying him his promised victim. Of the Great One. The instant.
I like that. Oh! Into the pipes.
Ew.
Yes.
No thanks. No tentacles.
That was it's very Spearhead from Space, isn't it? Remember the Nestine grabs
Yes, yes, indeed.
the dog? Scart.
Harg, mensch. Isn't mensch a Jewish word for, or a Hebrew word for man?
Possibly. Hold this.
Because I know the Ubermensch is the Superman. Yeah. I believe. I might be mistaken. Probably am.
I have not missed a damn thing.
Negative.
Wow, that's a lot of that's a lot of like flavour. Not as much as Leisure Hive though.
No, that was like a full 4-minute sequence at least.
The story doesn't really have tension, does it? Apart from obviously the tentacle bits, but there's no build up to it.
No, it's...
It just sort of everything just sort of happens.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm finding it hard to be gripped by it. Like, I don't dislike it. It's well written and well structured and all, but it's just... I don't know, just not doing it for me.
Well, there we go. I like that.
There's some interesting camera work and stuff throughout
Oh,
this.
look at this.
Ooh. Like, I know the Doctor's often quite, you know, frivolous and fun, but there's no sense of urgency to his character in this episode. Like, Romana doesn't seem phased either. They're just kind of going through the motions, which makes it hard to buy into the tension.
The slowest of all.
I knew it.
Well, I don't really know if there's meant to be.
Rankin that only Rome Duck deserved to be punished by the seventh ritual that you
It's so weird. Like they just seem
That's very easy.
almost bored.
Yeah. The cast, they're just...
Will you stop?
Like, I know they're supposed to be, like, not phased by the idea of torture and stuff, but this has been them throughout the whole story, and there were 3 episodes in, and it's just not... It's not snapping.
He hasn't had all his limbs separated on a digital graph yet, has he?
No.
Are you trying to take my...
K9!
Succeeding.
I mean, that was right out the gate, like, what the fuck?
I
This
don't
is-
want to hear.
Oh yeah, no, this is a very anti-Leisure Hive story, isn't it?
Yeah. But in a way, Leisure Hive was more entertaining.
Yeah, but
This is
but it was-
structurally and functionally much
true,
better.
but Leisure Hive was kind of a pile of shit.
This is structurally and functionally much more sound, but Leisure Hive was just whack.
This is very surprising from Robert Holmes, I think.
Yeah.
This would be studio.
Very unlike. That is very unlike him. I mean, he did write the Ribos Operation in the same season, which was the last story I watched,
Yeah.
and it's so different to this in every way. It's full of energy, full of character, full of interesting stuff.
Maybe he was just burnt out, and he just sort of put all his effort into the Ribos Operation and just sort of wrote this one without really sitting down and doing whatever his usual methodology was in writing.
I would definitely say this is his weakest since Troughton.
Yeah, because
Brought here by our ancestors at the time of the second.
Everything that came between Spearhead and Ribos Operation that I've seen, I've really enjoyed.
Our revealed how the Dryfoots would destroy Delta Magna.
there's a reason he's regarded as one of the best.
Yeah. And Spearhead, obviously. Terror of the Ortons is better than this, far better. Then you've got Carnival of Monsters, far better than this. You've got
Omega's better than this.
Time Warrior, Ark in Space.
This is not humorous, this is more.
No, yeah,
The other ones are like.
yeah. There's this sort of flair to the other ones,
Yeah.
even though this is structurally quite well put together. The
It doesn't
yeah,
have the geeky stuff.
yeah, and it doesn't have that sort of usual
Right.
energy. Yeah, doesn't have that usual flair.
Pyramids of Mars, Brain of Morbius,
Yeah,
Deadly Assassin, Talons of Wing Chiang,
yeah,
Sunmakers even, and a Ribos Operation. And then everything after this too. Caves of Androzani, Two Doctors. I haven't seen Mysterious Planet Ultimate Foe, but you've seen those, right?
I don't want to give too much away, but
Why did Thorn want to discredit the sons of
But I suppose we will have to wait for the other Troughton ones. We haven't
That's
got to
true.
those yet.
that's true.
Crotons and Space Pirates.
Yeah, but even Baker can't really pull this particular.
Yeah, I don't know. He's
He's just off.
not improvising enough. He's far
Or
too-
at least the writing's not making it seem fluid and free like it normally does.
Oh, in Ribos Operation, he's on fire. And that happened in the same year.
Be interested to hear the trivia behind the scenes about this one.
I would be. Maybe this is one of those ones that was quite micromanaged by the director. Because that's usually the worst Tom Bakers are the ones that are micromanaged.
Because there's some good flair and there's some interesting
know
bits
what?
and pieces, but
Honestly, I think Nightmare of Eden's better than this.
I think so.
Yeah,
Creature from the Pit, definitely.
absolutely. But I think Nightmare of Eden is actually better than this.
Nightmare of Eden had some really genuinely interesting and creepy and fascinating ideas and moments, whereas this...
Nightmare of Eden had that guy that looked like John Lennon, but he was like South African.
And they also had the
Or
guy...
French or German? I think it was German.
Yeah. And they had the guy in the bushes staring at them, and you could just see
Yeah.
his eyes. And
And the mandrels are funny.
yeah.
Like, I don't know, the Kroll thing's cool, but it's not enough of it.
No.
Too much sitting at computers.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a lot of padding, isn't it? It's only held up by the fact that the actors are really trying, but it's
Yeah.
sort of...
And the dialogue isn't bad, it's just unnecessary, a lot of it.
Yeah. This needs some magic.
It needs an antagonist who's flamboyant. It just needs a
Well, that's what
character.
Nightmare of Eden had.
Yeah, exactly. It needs an Omega. It needs someone who's just gonna yell at the Doctor and be like, haha, to give it some... I get that you can't have that all the time, but for this story, I feel like it needs it. I wish...
And like, the Doctor and Romana have been captured for ages now.
Yeah.
Like, recaptured and captured again. Whoa, I like that.
Isn't that just the same shot of the clouds they used before, but they've just colour inverted it to make it day for night?
I don't know. If this is modern technology, they would have to slow that footage down to make it look like the ocean. What the hell's going on? Is he like passing out? Is there like a lack of oxygen or something?
No, they're being stretched.
Oh.
For the sons of Earth, we need their support on Delta Magna.
The positioning of characters within the frame
It's
is bare minimum. It's
Yeah.
very much just
3 people
you
standing
stand
in-
there, you stand there, and you stand there.
It's like there was one shot before where they had some interesting levels, but it's so like so much of it is stagnant soap opera on a quick turnaround. Rain. Fuck, those guys must have been freezing.
My green is starting to run.
Yeah. What kind of paint must they have used to? Unless obviously it's fake rain, but it looks the way it's hitting the leaves and stuff. It looks.
Come on, give us an action scene, surely.
Have the thing struck by lightning. And
I know
have it
it's meant to
explode.
be. I know it's meant to be tribalism and religion and.
But they're not doing enough of that
politics,
either to make it
But
interesting.
yeah, just need some. Just needs.
Yeah, give us something.
Sorry, roll sick.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations, director. Let's do that then.
Yeah, because at this point of the story, we should be invested in them to not want
Yeah.
it to blow apart. But I really don't care.
No. I just want something to happen. I want him to be stretched in half. I want the monster to attack again.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, now they're going to be drowned slowly.
Oh God. Did he just do a digital scream?
He's auto-tuned.
The Doctor's an opera singer. Oh, so they're using the water to slip out?
Yeah, his boots are gum boots.
Huh.
They're wellies. But they're like thigh-high wellies. Wait for your gum boots, where would you be? Would be in the hospital or infirmary?
I didn't even want to look at the screen, did you?
I'm so restless, man. I'm just, this is not working for me at all.
Wrong story, wrong time. There's little moments, there's little things about the story I like, but they're not connected.
No, it's not enough. The glass. Oh no.
You know, I was talking when we were watching part 1 about this being like a William Hartnell story. I feel like actually, if it was William Hartnell's story, it might be better because there would actually be some investigating.
Yeah.
Because with Tom Baker here, because of his character, they've written it well. He's been captured well. He takes the piss out of being captured, right?
Yeah.
But there's nothing to that.
Yeah.
So with William Hartnell, he would be very much like, let me tell you, please alert me to what your tribe is doing here. Like there would actually be questions asked, whereas because it's the Fourth Doctor, he doesn't care. So
It's-
why should we care?
Yeah, it's a Baker adventure with the Hartnell investigative story, you know?
Yeah, but the character and the plot itself are clashing, and they're not giving us anything interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also they've given in terms of the season, they've given it the death spot as well.
Yeah.
Second to last.
Yeah.
But sometimes the death spot can work.
Yeah.
Boomtown is
Yeah.
a good example of that.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the death spot is not the death spot. Utopia.
Turn left.
There you go.
Heaven sent.
I don't know. I don't know if that counts. It's a bit of a. Yeah, I would say so. But again, they're like linked. It's weird to talk about actually.
So face the Raven.
Well, not really. Sleep No More's more the death spot for that series,
Bad.
and that is death. Eaters of Light for series 10.
Yeah.
Weirdly, It Takes You Away series 11 is better than the finale.
Because it was a frog and interesting. Yeah. It's so much.
Yeah, this is such a draft story, isn't it?
It feels like it's only draft is exactly it. It feels like the script had one pass, you know. And it's because it's a good writer. It's structured well, but it's just
Routine. It's very routine.
There's no energy to it. So could you hold this for a second?
It could be worse.
It absolutely could be, but it's still not. Oh no.
The problem is
The guys-
he's made that exact same bombshell about 3 times now and hasn't done anything about it.
The first episode we knew he was kind of bigoted.
This episode, this story has so much bluffing in it.
It's just bleh. Better than Invasion of Time.
Of course, you know, it's not terrible. It's just very stagnant, you know.
Yeah, 42s are good. But the difference is between this and 42 is
At least
40
42 is fast.
yeah,
It's over
40
and done with.
minutes,
Yeah.
Chibnall's
And it's like you know, David Tennant's like
yeah.
on buckets of cocaine as well.
Here's the next meal.
Yeah.
You'll stay there. You got merged.
Ba, 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 da, ba, 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 da, ba, 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 da, ba, ba.
That's the little Kroll. Almighty Kroll.
This is like I said before, this is one of the very rare times where Tom Baker's Doctor is actually detrimental to the story.
Yeah.
Because they're writing it so that it makes sense for his character, but that makes the story less interesting because he doesn't care, so we don't care. It's almost like the Doctor doesn't want to be in this story.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Oh. This looks like the river from Carnival of Monsters.
Yeah.
I want to see a drash egg come out in the water.
That'd be cool.
Joe, there's some drash eggs here. Here we go. I am so scared of this monster. Will part 4 give us something?
Nope.
Come on, Bob. Yeah, it just comes across to me like he had both scripts on his desk and he just avoided this one
Until like
because he's just like, oh, it's a fucking generic octopus story.
Yeah.
Give him just.
I'll release it anyway.
And then
I've already been.
and the thing is, he probably
got
got so stuck into the Ribos operation he like wanted to keep going.
Yeah, it was probably like, as you know, when a writer gets inspired by something, they're just like this,
Yeah.
and then there's that other thing where you're like, ugh, I've been asked to do that, and I have a fulfillment to make, so I'll do that, but it's not, it's a slog.
Yeah.
They released it so you would buy it
Yeah,
and you'd unbox it. You had to watch it.
yeah. So 40 years later.
Yeah.
It's like this story is disappointingly okay, rather than like magnificently shit.
Yeah, I know. It's just so. It's frustratingly competent.
When are these guys gonna get out of that room? Fucking hell. They're just sitting around, they look so tired.
Like a whole little woman in a teapot.
Something
Go
happened.
outside and find some guns or something.
Yeah.
Do something.
The next orbit shot is charged and ready to fire.
Like this story desperately needs like Roger Delgado to come back from the dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone coming back.
I have controlled this Kroll monster, Doctor.
It is that. This is the same show that produced Blink. Like,
And then finally drive the ship with the wheels.
woo.
Different from you or me.
They are very different, Yuki. Now get back to your place.
No.
One last chance.
Yeah, to the shoulder.
You want to give me an argument?
The weakest part of the human body.
Tentacle
Yeah,
there.
just
Do something.
I don't know, Pirates of the Caribbean. You know when
Let's
the
go Kroll.
pirate in Pirates of the Caribbean gets his face sucked off into, you know, literally off. Do something like that. Something gross and creative.
Yeah. Come on, Norm Stewart. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Do a line out. Line out with Kroll.
Yeah.
It's sad because the Australian explorer character is gone, so
Yeah.
it's like sucked all the life out.
Yeah. It's all gone.
Oh, they said goodbye because they might not see each other again.
Oh no.
Oh dear. If you do not press the big red button, I will shoot you.
We can't stop it.
Okay. Get out, you'll be hurt. I cannot put you in danger.
Then kill me, but don't going to kill the others.
That was a look of, oh, he actually did it. 15,
Oh, here we go. It is literally 42. There is a countdown.
12, 11, 10, 6, 5, 2, 1.
So where did that hammer come from?
You know how people complain about the new series having too many Deus Ex Machinas?
I don't understand.
It's a thing. People criticise the new show for having too many Deus Ex Machinas, which is fair.
I'll soon fix that.
Depends on the
Context and everything.
power of 3. Yes.
Yeah, but in this, it's just dunk, stopped, saved, with a hammer that he just pulled from his pocket.
No, that's not really a Deus Ex Machina.
It
That's
absolutely is a
No,
Deus-
it's not. It's just stupid.
But it is a Deus Ex Machina because the hammer came out of nowhere. He just went dunk, and it was a solution that just came out of nowhere that wasn't set up beforehand.
Well, that's what. No, but hang on. That. I wouldn't say that's a Deus Ex Machina. That's just stupid.
Most Deus Ex Machina.
Because a Deus Ex Machina, it means that it has to be something that's unexplained. It's not that it's not unexplained. It's like, of course, you can fix something with a hammer, like by bonking it. Like that happens all the time. But why would you write a story like that? That's just lazy.
Yeah.
It's lazy writing. I wouldn't say it's Deus Ex Machina. Power of 3 though, that's a Deus Ex Machina. The sonic screwdriver can reverse the cubes. That makes no sense because it's never explained what technology the cubes have.
That journal's called New Zealand.
Don't make any sudden moves. Don't make
Makes sense why Bob Holmes left for 6 years
Yeah.
after this. Probably
Seems like he was burnt out.
he's just like, I don't want to write anymore if this is what I'm going to put out.
What's his name? Norm Stewart?
Nah,
Robert
Robert
Holmes.
Holmes, the writer.
Norm Stewart's the director.
Robert Holmes wrote from. He wrote like almost every series. He wrote a story from like the end of the Second Doctor all the way up to this. I think at this point he may have been burnt out. He left for 6 years and then came back for Davison and wrote an amazing story. And then he died a couple of years later. Yeah.
Oh, he's the great one. I said shut up!
Still coming.
What the
Blood.
hell?
Blood! Lots of blood!
You're stabbed by a Swampy.
And does Kroll know that?
Kroll is all wise, all seeing, all beloved. Kroll couldn't tell the difference
Oh,
between
Kroll.
you and me, a half
Oh, Kroll.
dandelion and what are we going to do? Just sit here while that thing
Oh god.
Stop talking and do something!
What are we gonna do? Sit here? If we get another Tom Baker, fucking hell.
So after all that, all they needed was some sonic, some sound or something.
Where are you going?
to test a theory.
So what's gonna happen now?
Squid thing go boom. Doctor be like, there should have been another way. Then off they go. The end.
Well done.
I have swallowed your magic plot device, Doctor. Now I will kill you.
Is that it?
Yep,
Oh, there's the key.
of course.
Some Christmas thing.
This is a nightmare.
Another countdown.
I don't like this. 8, 7.
Oh, lazy
Six,
effort. Lazy effort from Bob.
5, yeah.
I love the man, but fuck. Do I have the right?
1.
You can do better than this, Bob. Oh, I fixed it. Easy.
Time to say goodbye. Come on, Violet, let's go. Where are you going?
Beat for beat what I said was going to happen.
Kroll. Mighty Kroll. There's now a cube on the end of the stick.
I think it's this way.
No, Doctor, it was this one.
Ha 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 ha. They're stuck in the coordinates they can't find.
That is real rain, I think.
I can see why they didn't have K9 in it.
Yes, impossible to drive that.
Yeah.
How did you know?
Master! That book sounds really interesting.
Which one?
The one they were reading.
Yeah.
The one they found in the pit. Is that like implying that it laid an egg or something?
Who knows? Who cares?
This is amazing, this one. Cool.
Ah well. That one's going back on the shelf. It's gonna
Never to be watched
it's gonna
again.
be collecting dust. Not it's not the worst episode. I just don't really care to watch it again, you know?
It's well, we'll see on the recap. It's
And we've teleported.
ah!
Which I think we've done before, haven't we? For
I
a
think
couple of them. But yes, we've teleported for the review of Power of Kroll, which we watched yesterday for us, but it'll be like seconds for you guys. So, Adam,
Yes.
what is your initial thoughts on the Power of Kroll?
Oh, it's well structured. Everything's set up fine. There's some interesting atmosphere. There's some interesting ideas, but it's mainly just fine. And it really didn't grip me at all.
It's a disappointing Robert Holmes story.
Absolutely.
And even in the sense that we knew it wasn't going to be good because of the worst of Classic Who list usually predicts it being bad to an extent. I didn't expect a Robert Holmes story to be this phoned in.
Yeah, because we had a theory, which I'm sure we'll get to when it comes to trivia and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, out of all the reviews done so far, this is one of the ones that I'm really interested to see the trivia for.
Yeah, because obviously Robert Holmes is so well regarded for a very good reason. When he's on, he's a one.
Within the same season.
Yeah. He's one
Ribos
of-
Operation
Yeah.
was the opener for this season, and I watched it recently, and I loved it.
Yeah, which to me, again, tinfoil hat. It seems like Ribos Operation. He put all of his, eggs in that basket and then forgot about this one and just sort of, just he did it and got it done by a deadline, as opposed to doing it because he was passionate and had a really, really interesting idea that he was gripped by. I have no proof to back this up. This is just based upon what ended up on screen, and yeah, it was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, it was very substandard, and because there was hardly anything going into it, especially towards the latter half of the story, when the world building stopped, because I think the world building, I suppose, is something you could make a mild sort of praise for, in a sense. But once that stopped, and we got the second half where things were meant to happen, it just sort of plodded along and nothing really happened. It was very formulaic, and the ending was lazy, and it was a shame. It was a shame, really, because it's one of those ones that like you really wish Robert Holmes could have put his big effort into, because imagine even if it was the exact same story but just put a bit more juice into the script and a bit more fire, you could have done something.
Make it a bit pacier and a bit more, make the characters bigger and just have a bit more spice to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned during the reaction, it wouldn't be so bad if this was like one of the first stories ever broadcast, because it would make sense for it to be that simple. But because it's so far into Doctor Who, it just feels wrong. It's too doesn't have enough meat.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So let's begin with the characters, with the Doctor, Tom Baker. I would say he was pretty good at the start. Like, there was the section where he created like a musical instrument out of straw. That was good. Like, it's basically all the stuff in part 1. He was fine. But it felt like as the story got on, he started to lose it and got a bit bored of the story.
Yeah, I don't know. He just seemed a bit off. It wasn't a bad performance by any means, but the writing of his character was just very much, Doctor is here, say a couple quirky, funny lines, save the day. That's it. There's no real pizzazz, which is disappointing considering it's Tom Baker, who's one of the pizzazziest doctors.
Yeah. Well, he's very much a doctor he's an actor who feeds off the energy of the scripts he's in.
Yeah.
And the people around him, and it just felt like that as the script got less interesting, he got bored of it and sort of...
Seemed like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Just seemed less interested.
Yeah. Unlike, for example, like I said, earlier in the series, Ribos Operation, he's on fire for the entire thing.
Yeah.
So he kind of just... Yeah, you could just tell he was going through the motions a bit. You know, it wasn't like it was terrible, but it felt like he was doing a routine performance towards the end.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel bad for him for it. But yeah, there's not really much you can say about him beyond the sort of world building section. There was a couple of little jokes in there I liked, but they weren't some of his best. This is one of the problems with Power of Kroll. It's really hard to define how it stands out amongst everything else, because it just doesn't... It's hardly any highlights, especially for the humanized characters. There are highlights in the story, but they're very small and they're very weird.
Yeah, it's structured fine, it plays out fine, but in saying that, there's not enough of a constant momentum and a constant driving force, because there's a lot of scenes of people sitting in chairs saying, this is going to happen if we don't do this, this is going to happen if we don't do this, this is about to happen, and then the next episode it happens, but without any sort of momentum, without it building and building and building. It's just, this is coming, you know? It's just a sort of a flat line.
It's really disappointing, because it just feels like, it's weird to say this, but Robert Holmes feels like he's doing a Chibnall-esque script, and it's quite disappointing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And I would say even more disappointing than the Doctor is probably Romana, because Mary Tam only appears in season 16.
Yeah.
And it just feels like such a waste, because she really doesn't do anything.
No, she gets nothing to do in this, other than just be a bit of a damsel in distress.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing for such an interesting character.
Yeah. She really doesn't do anything at all. I don't know what to say.
No, there's nothing really much to say about Romana in this story.
Yeah.
Other than she had a couple interesting lines, and she played off the Doctor well at the beginning and at the end.
Yeah, because like I said, with Ribos Operation, her introduction story, she's great. She's all over the story. She's brilliant. And then this one, she's just there.
Yeah.
And like I said, you know, with the Doctor, there's a couple of funny little moments, I suppose, but it's all a bit mild.
Yeah. It's very passive.
I like this. I like the part 1 cliffhanger where they like the Swampies hang her up to.
Yeah, and then there's the fake Kroll reveal in the next episode.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, I've written down K9, but K9 didn't appear at all. Because obviously the circumstances, it would be pretty much impossible to have K9 through that forest and swamp.
Yeah, in that swamp, yeah.
Yeah. Before I forget, there is one thing I really, really liked about the story I said during the reaction. And I'll probably forget about it if I don't say it now. I really like the passage of time. How it goes from day to night to day.
There's a clear...
And it didn't feel forced either. It felt very gradual.
Mm-hmm. That's something that did work, absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely felt like they were there for a while. But they didn't capitalise on that, unfortunately. No. So moving on, we have Thorn.
Yep.
Who's this character who has a very interesting face. Like, his facial features are very large for his head.
Very sharp, yeah.
And the actor definitely was trying hard to steal scenes. And there were points where he was, I think mainly, it was whenever Dudley Simpson would go... Poof,
Yeah.
A lot of Dudley Simpson's score, and I know I'm jumping ahead, but I don't really care. A lot of Dudley Simpson's score in this story was very much budum-ch for everything. And it was always those moments when Thorne really stood out, when he just basically looked at the camera and did like an angry thing of, we have to get rid of these swampies, they're not like us.
His performance wasn't bad by any means, but the script felt like it lent itself to having a much bigger, more flamboyant villain, a more over-the-top antagonist, someone who's harder and faster and more aggressive, and we only really got that just before he died.
Yeah, well, the problem with Thorne is he didn't really take action in the story until the very end.
Yeah, and then he just got stabbed by a
So
sword.
it would have been better if he'd actually taken some action towards maybe part 2, and then actually become a real antagonist and a real threat.
Maybe he could have led half of the men out to go towards the swampies and attack them, or whatever. Just something to do.
Because I think the story was trying to rely on Kroll itself, but Kroll didn't really appear that often.
No.
Until about part 4 was when they got the most screen time with Kroll. But yeah, I don't know, it was a letdown because Thorne, I felt like had a lot of potential as a character, but just didn't really go anywhere. It was quite a stagnant journey, just a lot of repeating itself, very much like, we need to get rid of these swampies, duh-duh-duh. We will get rid of these swampies, duh-duh-duh. We will get rid of them, duh-duh-duh.
And that's basically the whole episode, though, is all the characters are just kind of repeating themselves until the story's over.
After Thorne, we have Ranquin, who's like one of the main swampy
He's the
characters.
leader swampy, yeah.
He features in my favourite cinematography shots of the story, which was during the sacrifice when he was
purring and
he's
praying,
doing like that.
and it's a slightly low angle shot looking up at him in a close up. He's just got this really striking face in the way it's lit,
and it looks like a high definition lens. It's very good.
It's lovely.
I'm looking forward to whenever they release the Blu-ray for season 16, what this episode looks like, especially with those shots. Was he also one of the characters that was doing that a lot?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that was one of Tony's favourite parts. Kroll. But I don't really remember much he does beyond those memorable little bits.
Neither.
Then we had Fenner, who was the guy who looked like Jack Nicholson. He was like he was contending Thorne for a lot of it, very much just trying to.
But it also he's sort of a not an antagonist, but just someone who would occasionally be like, well, hang on, maybe this isn't right. But that also led to constant repetition, because he'd be like, maybe this isn't right, and the other guy, Thorne, would be like, no, get rid of the
There was too much
zombies.
stagnant arguing with those characters.
It was very clinical.
But he just looked a bit like Jack Nicholson's in his eye, especially in his eyebrows.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. And then the Joker pulls out that massive gun. that film has Billy D. Williams in it.
Yes, it does, and I wish...
He's Harvey Dent.
I wish Batman Forever was done by Tim Burton, and I wish we got Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent.
Instead of Tommy Lee Jones.
And I wish it wasn't Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I wish that was a better film. Though I would keep if Michael Keaton wasn't going to do it, I'd keep Val Kilmer. Because I think
he's fine.
He has moments of where he'd be really, 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 really,
just
good.
Needs to be written better, more seriously. Because I think he could pull off serious, but then they just fuck with it.
Yeah, because there's a couple of deleted scenes.
There's one scene in that film that I remember that I really, really liked as a kid, is when he's, I think he's on his watch phone to Alfred, and I think he says, does he say that Robin's taken a car?
Yeah,
because he's got a massive car collection. And he's like, oh, that's fine. I've got a million cars. And he's like, no, Batman.
The car.
No, Bruce. The car. Yeah.
Michael Goff, toy maker.
There we go. Oh, and I've made some mistakes on this channel before.
Yeah.
I kept on saying this. I don't know why, but I found out last night that I was wrong. I kept on saying on multiple reviews that he was married to Katie Manning.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He was married to Annika Wills.
Right.
Who played Polly.
Right.
Yeah. So, apologies. Also, there was a photo on social media I saw the other day of Katie Manning and Fraser Hines having fun.
Yeah.
That looked funny.
It's probably a big Finish thing.
I don't know, but they were they looked like they were very comfortable. They were I think she was saying something like how they're like old but still having the time of their life.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah. Fraser loves his ladies. Anyway, Rom Dutt. Now, I think we agreed.
The Cockney Australian.
I think we all agreed that he was the best part of the story.
Yeah, and then he died.
Yeah. It's a shame because as soon as he died, the story turned to shit. But he was great when he was on screen.
He was just kind of roguish. He was Cockney, but he occasionally sounded very Australian.
He was very suspicious of Romana.
Yeah.
Where'd you get here? Why are you here? I told you we just got here. And how's that?
These weapons are for you. He's always chewing on a piece of straw. And occasionally, again, sounds very Australian. Expecting him to have a cool cat and start going on about the bloody Sheilas, the kangaroos.
It was that scene where he was tied up and so was the doctor and Romana.
That's
all
right.
together and stretched.
Yep.
I suppose that was a kind of creative how the doctor like screamed like an opera singer and broke the glass and the water came in.
He resonated the glass frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I just wish there was more urgency. Like I said in the reaction, like the doctor and Romana just don't feel like they care about being captured. That's very strange to me that they just don't care about being captured.
Yeah, as you said, there's no real urgency. They're
just like, oh, here we go again. We've done this a million times.
Yeah. Which makes it quite dull for the audience.
Yeah. Whereas, like, if it was if this was a first Doctor story, like he would have nothing of it.
Yeah.
He's like, this is an outrage, Chesterton.
You can't tie me up like this. How dare you?
No, it's an outrage, sir. You must untie me immediately. Barbara, can't you do something? Oh, anyway. But yeah, Rom Dutt was a bit of fun, but he was taken out of the story, and then that was sad because he was the best part.
Yep.
Then we had Varlick.
Who was basically the one who ended up being the de facto leader of the swamp people.
Yeah, a lot of those swamp people got like killed by the Kroll, didn't they?
Yeah, Kroll. Yeah, most of them got attacked by the Kroll and killed by the Kroll.
It was either in the like rivery bit that was on the outside, or it was inside of that
the walls of that little
the sea base thing.
Yeah,
it looked like it's from Fury of the Deep, and it was coming through the pipes. And I looked at it and I was like, that's a kind of horror that could really work if we cared.
Yeah. It could be like a Cthulhu-like sort of Lovecraftian unknown thing, but it wasn't.
Scart, I don't have a picture, so we can move past Scart.
Yeah.
Probably just another one of those. Then we had Dougine, who was like the third member of that argument
he was the
group.
younger-looking one, yeah.
Yeah. He was kind of like the third wheel, but he was very much just like anxious about what was going on.
Like, we can't do that, and then he said we can't do that, and that repeated itself.
And at points he looked a bit like Topher Grace.
That's right, he did
because of his hair. But again, like he was tied up in that very repetitive story that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Then we had Haag. Who was that one?
He's just the fourth member of that.
He was fourth, and he was killed first, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit like Bliss in Love and Monsters. She was the first one killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at least she had one interesting scene, whereas I can't remember anything about Haag at all.
No. I'm sure he stood up to what's his name?
Oh, then there was Mensch, who was the slave.
Yeah, who didn't do anything he ran away, but
yeah, there was one little interesting bit where he was being abused by Thorn.
Yeah,
and that really illustrated the situation.
And it was constantly being called subhuman, and it was always referred to as it. He wasn't. And the doctor counted 6 people, and he said no. There's only 5.
And that's an idea that we've seen in Doctor Who before, but it didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, no, there was no uprising. There was no real.
Yeah, and then we had the Kroll monster itself, which is the imagery is memorable.
Yeah.
Of the monster like coming on the horizon and also coming through the pipes, and when it was surrounding the base, but it's just that, isn't it? It's just a big
squid.
octopus squid thing.
Yeah.
Very and not it's not enough to fill a 4-part story, and the amount of screen time that it had is not actually that bad. It's just the fact that everything else that happened was so stagnant that it didn't really.
Yeah, the most interesting thing about the Kroll monster is the book about the Kroll monster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, the book that they found.
The sort of lore.
And also the one other thing I would say is the little scanner that they had.
Yeah.
That was really unique. It looked interesting. But yeah, that book that they pulled out of the ground.
Yeah, well, the doctor found it and dropped it down the well.
Yeah. And it made that water noise. But you know, I just yeah, this needed more.
Yeah.
This really needed more. It was very this is like the definition of a first draft.
Yeah.
In every sense. It's all just bare bones and rushed.
Yeah, it didn't feel too great.
Which is disappointing. But is there anything else we want to discuss in regards to the plot itself?
There's not really much else to say. We've pretty much
A lot of
covered it,
capturing.
Yeah, there's a lot of capturing, a lot of being held hostage, a lot of being like, no, we can't do this. Yes, we can do this. It was a lot of wheel turning for a very sort of flat payoff.
Yeah, and there was one scene that was trying to be really funny when like the Doctor and Amana can see the Swampies coming towards them, and they're like, oh, this is the part where we get captured. And I'm like, that's meant to be funny, but because I don't care about the story, it's not really funny.
No, it's just pointing out that, yes, that's what's going to happen. Thanks for telling us.
Yeah. And rather than it being a nice joke that sort of makes the script a bit, you know, almost metatextual, like something like the Space Museum is, or The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, with this, it's just because the story isn't actually interesting, the joke kind of exposes the story rather than plays with it.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Makes the formula apparent. Yeah, so... Oh my god, and the hammer. The Doctor picks up a hammer and smacks it in.
It's just like... I'm sure...
Oh, and then he has a fight with Kroll.
Yeah.
Sticks the thing in Kroll, and then... Oh, there's the key.
Is inside Kroll. Yeah, it's very just okay. It's all okay. Nothing offensively bad or anything. It's just dull. Not one I'm ever going to watch again.
Probably not. Yeah. Because there are some like absolutely terrible stories that you want to rewatch sometimes to dissect them and talk about them.
Yeah.
But with this, it's like there's nothing.
Yeah. It's just competent, but
it needs to be remade.
With a faster pace and a
more interesting script.
Yeah.
What a shame. I don't have anything else to say, honestly. 20 minutes for talking about the characters, that's appalling.
Yeah, well, there's nothing to say.
Like, whenever me and Callum do Discord reviews, we tend to... like, for example, when we did... when we did, like, Star Wars, when we did, say, for example, like, the original trilogy, we would be spending, like, an hour at least talking about Luke, Leia, and Han. At least. That's just the three main characters, and we'd probably go even further than that. 20 minutes, all the characters and the plot.
Yep.
And it's like almost the same length as those films. Come on, Bob, you can do better than that. It makes sense why he took a hiatus after this, because
it seems like he was burnt out.
Yeah,
he just was like, okay, here you go.
Because he'd been writing since season 6.
Yeah,
10 years. That's a long time to write for Doctor Who. He missed season 9, but like he was heavy for Hinchcliffe era because he was the script editor.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he was just done for a bit, and then obviously Case of Androzani was when he made his return. So I think the time off did him well because he came back with a burning hot idea. Unfortunately, he just passed away a couple of years after that. So, but yeah, I would definitely say out of all the Robert Holmes stories I've seen, this is the weakest one. I haven't seen the Troughton ones yet, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the Trial of a Time Lord ones either.
Yeah.
But other ones I have seen, I just think this is really not anywhere near as other ones.
No, I agree. I fully agree.
Yeah.
There's not much more to be said.
So should we go to the historical reception?
Yeah, let's do it.
This story has a harsh critical response, but is a favourite for the pulpy loving Williams era fans.
Fair enough.
I just think that even if you focus on what the elements of the Williams era that are like prominent, I just think even then it's lacking compared to the other Williams stories.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, because at least then there's usually one or two really fun or fast-paced elements, whereas this
Nightmare
is
of Eden.
Yeah.
Nightmare of Eden's not great, but there's so much more to that than there is to this.
Yeah, and there's some interesting monsters, and there's some interesting, like, there's some bits and pieces that are really cool.
Yeah, and then let alone Creature from the Pit, City of Death, Ribos Operation, Pirate Planet, Horror Fang Rock, Image of the Fendel, even The Invisible Enemy, which is like a messy ending, has got so many cool ideas and humorous moments, and it's a little bit shit, but at least it's got some fire to it. Whereas this
It just happened.
Disappointing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure how people feel about this, but I think the Sunmakers is even way better than this story, because that's got a political plot. It's funny. It's got Tom and Leela on their best. There's just it's a bit of a weird one, and it's not for everyone, but like it's got some stuff. It's got some really cool stuff. This just generic, really generic, and the humor isn't enough. Like it's not funny enough, and it's not relevant enough, and it's not often enough to carry the story to like a pulpy comedy. It's just sort of mild. In their book, The Discontinuity Guide by in their book, Paul Cornell, Martin Day and Keith Topping wrote that the power of Kroll was very slow with little humour and horribly acted aside from Maddock and Aberneri. They also criticised the unconvincing realisation of Kroll. In 2011, Mark Braxton of Radio Times gave a negative review of the serial, describing it as uninteresting with poor effects, tepid dialogue and dull characters. However, he felt that some parts were enlivened by Tom Baker's sprightly performance. DVD Talks Justin Felix gave the story a 2.5 out of 5 stars, calling it the least inspired story of the key to time. While he praised Baker and Tam and their dialogue, he criticised the flimsy concept and the swampies. It all sounds about right to me.
I agree, yeah. I know I keep saying I agree, but it's true. There's not much I can contribute beyond that. What he said, I think, is right.
I think they may be being a little bit harsh on the effects.
The effects is something like the realisation of Kroll, I don't mind. I have nothing wrong with that. The design of Kroll is interesting. It's a big squid monster. And obviously there's going to be dated green screen. There's going to be dated,
but there's something iconic about the Horizon Kroll shots.
It's aged poorly, but it's still commendable for what they had.
212 of 241 stories on DWM, so it's very low down. It's one place below Creature from the Pit. I think that's sad.
Creature from the Pit much, much higher.
Blast this.
Yeah.
It's way better. And it's 4 spots below Daleks in Manhattan. Again, blast this. And it's... Yeah. And what is it? What's it above? It's above Planet of Giants. That's disappointing. I like Planet of Giants. It's above The Mutants. It's above Dragonfire. It's above The Monster of Peladon. These are all stories that are... Some of these are on the list, actually. In fact, a lot of them... Oh, it's above The Wet Planet. That's sad. And it's above Love and Monsters. Come on, guys. Come on. Give Love and Monsters some...
Love.
Some love.
and Monsters.
But basically most of the ones that it's above are on the list, so I suppose we'll get back to them there. But yeah, I suppose it
being ranked so low, I get, but there are things that it's around which I think deserve to be much higher than it itself. I'm so apathetic towards it. I'm not bothered one way or another of where it places, but I'm bothered that... Well, not really bothered, but, I think that other episodes that are near it should be higher.
Yeah, I think in terms of the numbers, I think it might be placed correct. I'm not sure. Maybe... it's hard because you've got to reorganise the whole thing for it to fit your own criteria, but it doesn't deserve to be particularly high. It's just not particularly good.
Yeah.
IMDb scores... 1, 2, 3 are 6.6 and part 4 6.7, so I suppose for IMDb that's like an average.
Yeah, average.
Yeah. Written by Robert Holmes. His last script before leaving, then came back 5 years later for The Caves of Androzani. What a difference. What a difference.
He needed a holiday.
Yeah. So yeah, disappointing. But I think, considering how much he's contributed to this show, I can let it slide.
For sure. For sure.
Because everything he wrote, from Spearhead from Space to Right Boss Operation, is some of my favourite of this show.
He's brilliant. He's one of the best that they've ever had. He's the top 5 easily. It's just that this one's a bit lackluster, but, we all have our off days.
Yeah. So in terms of just Robert Holmes, to add on to that, I just suppose the thing I'm most interested to see is the Crotons and the Space Pirates and how they compare to this. So, yeah, we'll see. Director Norman Stewart. He also directed Underworld, which is on this list, and is also Tom Baker. And it was also the second to last story of season 15. This is the second to last of season 16. So, I haven't seen Underworld, but I know that has a disastrous production. This one, I can say it's probably better. And I do like elements of the direction, but I would say mainly the night shots and the bits with the bamboo, grass, straw, whatever it is. It's the sets are fine.
Yeah, and then there's some nice, like we said, the low angle shot of the guy praying and stuff. Yeah, was interesting.
It's not the direction's not bad. It's just the fact that the story is not particularly interesting.
Yeah, it's very difficult to bring energy to a script that's so basic.
Yeah. So I would say Norman Stewart was competent.
Yeah, it was strong, but it wasn't. Yeah. He didn't stand out.
Yeah, I would say the main thing I would praise is the people that were actually on set building the sets, like building the environments.
Yeah.
They were the ones that really nailed it.
For sure.
Because I definitely, especially with the external scenes, I definitely got a feeling of how big the environment was. It reminded me of Carnival of Monsters.
Yeah.
But that story is a fucking masterpiece by Robert Holmes. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah. Norman Stewart was also the production assistant for The Daleks, Planet of Giants, The Web Planet, The Savages, The Underwater Menace, Day of the Daleks, and The Invisible Enemy. So he was definitely around for a lot of the show and part of the BBC's, and he sort of got the job as director. He went up the ranks, same way J&T did.
Yeah. Good on him.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think the direction was terrible. It was, for what they had at the time, I think he did a pretty decent job. I just wish the story was better.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Music, Dudley Simpson. Oh, he's just... This is the part... I think this is the point where Simpson sort of... Obviously, we have City of Death after this, where it's one of his final greats. Like, it's like his last hurrah. But, yeah, he's almost at the end, isn't he?
Yeah, he's...
Season 17 was when he stopped.
Yeah.
Season 16, second to last, so you can tell he's running out of steam.
Yeah, he's winding down. Yeah. It's not bad.
And
it's very similar to the direction in the terms that it serves its purpose. It's not bad or offensive in any way. It's just functional, and it just lacks a certain flair.
The only time Simpson stands out in the Williams era is when the story's great and distinct.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like I said, all of his score is very much just incidental, and it was to make a scene end.
Yeah,
it was very routine. Far from his best. Like, if you want peak Dudley Simpson, like season 6 and 7, that's where it's at. Like his score of the invasion and the Seeds of Death and the war games. That's all the that's peak Dudley Simpson. Whereas this here, he just sort of, he's not bad, but could be better
for sure.
Now, is it time to move on to the all-important trivia section?
Trivia it up.
This is what we've been looking forward to.
Trivia it up.
Okay, working titles for the story included Moon of Death, Horror of the Swamp, and The Shield of Time. It should be noted that the final working title was part of the short-lived idea that all stories in season 16 were going to be entitled The Something of Time, with the last story eventually became The Armageddon Factor, named simply The Key to Time. Interesting. The story...
End of Time.
Now that's an engaging story compared to this. Very entertaining.
For sure. I keep saying for sure, but it's yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
The story features a guest appearance by Philip Maddock. Maddock had been invited to play Thorn, but the invitation was withdrawn because Neil McCarthy had already accepted the role. He agreed to play the part of Fenner, when Alan Browning, who was slated to play Fenner, fell ill before the start of production. So Philip Maddock played the Jack Nicholson-looking...
Yeah.
So he is the Jack Nicholson-looking actor.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure on what the circumstances are, but I briefly watched a review of Power of Kroll after we watched it, just a small one that I'd already seen before, because I wanted to revisit it. I think I told you about this. I think there's some kind of controversy with Philip Maddock.
Right.
I'm not sure what it is, but I've heard that there are some people that don't like this story because he's in it.
Right.
So, yeah. Fingers crossed it's not like a
Savile.
Kevin Spacey or a Savile or
yeah.
a Bryan Singer situation. But yeah, go Google Philip Maddock if you want to find out what that's all about.
Oh god.
John Leeson. Oh, I remember this when I saw the credits.
Oh yes.
John Leeson, best known for the voice of K9, appears in this episode as Dougine. Partly. Now I want to go up if we have a picture of it. He plays the third man in the group, the Topher Grace looking guy. So that's the voice of K9.
Gotcha.
And if I'm correct in my thinking, I'm pretty sure I know why. Partly because of the location of the story rendered the use of K9 unfeasible, this marks Leeson's only on-screen appearance in Doctor Who. Coincidentally, the end of the previous story, The Androids of Tara, which sees K9 stranded in a rowing boat in the middle of Castle Grax Moat, offered a practical demonstration of why water and K9 did not mix. I haven't seen Androids of Tara, but it's one that I'm looking forward to seeing when I do.
Yeah.
Because from what I understand, the first 4 Key to Time stories are good shit. You know, I've seen the first one, obviously. Then there's Pirate Planet, which you love.
I love Pirate Planet.
Stones of Blood, which I've heard mixed things about, but most people really like. And then Androids of Tara, I heard really good things about too. Apparently that's Mary Tam's best story. And then we'll get to Armageddon Factor in this list. 6-part finale again. Yeah. The BBC head of serials, Graham MacDonald, was so unimpressed by the set designs in this story. What? It's like one of the best better parts. Oh well,
yeah.
We'll see. So unimpressed, but I suppose they did have the wheels on the boat.
They're probably just throwing everything and seeing what sticked.
Which stuck.
Stuck? Did I say sticked?
Yeah, you did.
Dear.
What
stuck?
The set designs in the story that he ordered designer Don Giles was to never work on the series again. That's a bit harsh. That's a bit harsh.
It was clearly on the back foot, so I don't know.
The sets were fine.
Yeah.
It was the fucking story. I suppose they got rid of Robert Holmes as well for a little bit.
That's true.
Or maybe he left, but we don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll find out. By coincidence, Part 3 includes a line of dialogue in which the Doctor criticises the decor of the Swambi's execution chamber and recommends that its architect be fired. That's really sad.
That's harsh.
It was fine.
Yeah, I didn't have an objective problem with it.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Fucking the Invasion of Time set designer should be fired.
Yeah.
The inside of the TARDIS.
Yeah. Gross walls. Headache inducing.
We've gotten 3 inside the TARDIS stories. The best one's the Doctor's wife.
Yeah.
The other 2 are shit. Because it's Invasion of Time and the other one that from Series 7. Fucking waste of potential. The funny thing is the Doctor's wife isn't even meant to be that. It was only added because they're like, what did we do with Amy and Rory? The episodes of the serial are noticeably shorter than average. Yeah, they had a lot of run-over time as well.
Yeah.
While it was... And they had padding.
Yeah, they're probably like 16 to like 18 minutes, some of them.
They're not as short as the Mind Robber and Meglos, though. We'll get to Meglos in the worst of, but the Mind Robber is because it was a 4-parter that was stretched to 5.
Yeah.
Because the Dominators was a 6-parter compressed to 5. But somehow the Mind Robber, despite being a 5-parter, is fucking good. While it was normal at the time for individual episodes to fluctuate between 23 and 25 minutes, the episodes of this serial clocked in at just a little over 21 minutes. In addition, with parts 3 and 4 begin with longer than usual reprises of the events leading up to the preceding cliffhangers, both clocking in at close to 90 seconds each. The final running time for the whole serial is 90 minutes, as is noted by the DVD of the story. The moon is never named on screen. In his novelization of the story, Terrence Dicks named the moon Delta 3.
Okay.
That's odd. You barely ever get that. The place you're going to isn't named.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I've watched the films recently. I can't remember. If I had subtitles on, maybe I would know for sure. But I'm pretty sure in The Force Awakens and possibly The Last Jedi as well, they don't actually mention Dakar by name.
No.
Even though that's where they are at the end, and of Force Awakens at the start of Last Jedi. I'm pretty sure they don't even name Dakar. They're just there.
No, it's just a base.
Yeah.
Not Yavin 4.
No,
basically.
yeah, basically. Dakar's like one of the most forgettable Star Wars planets. Like it's
just Yavin 4, but lowered
but
down.
without the architecture.
Yeah.
Because Yavin 4 is beautiful.
It is. It's very Aztec.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. In terms of establishing shots, it's one of my favorite establishing shots in Rogue One is the pyramids in Yavin 4. Tom Baker was. It reminds me of Age of Empires. Tom Baker was credited as the Doctor in Radio Times as opposed to the usual Doctor Who. The use of this billing had previously occurred with Image of the Fandal. In the closing titles, the term the Doctor was used until Castrovalva in 1982. Christopher Eccleston is credited as Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But then David Tennant is credited as the Doctor.
The Doctor, yeah.
But then Capaldi went back to Doctor Who because he's a classic Who fan.
Yeah.
The sacrificial stone is I remember this. The sacrificial stone is referred to as the Stone of Blood. An earlier story in the season was called the Stones of Blood. I was going to say something, but you're in the middle of talking about something else.
Right.
So I didn't want to interrupt you. But yeah, there's like a Stone of Blood in this and there was.
There's a reference to
the Stones of Blood, which was in this season. The Doctor's talking to himself before his final encounter with Kroll says he is 760 years old. This suggests that he is either rounding up, as his age was given as 759 in the Rivals operation, or he's had a birthday since the beginning of the Keep the Time mission. A birthday scene was originally planned for the Stones of Blood, but dropped by Graham Williams, who considered it too self-indulgent.
I mean, hey, it works.
After this, I want to go on Big Finish and look up if they filmed one with Tom Baker and Mary Tam, like a birthday.
I'm sure they have somewhere something like that.
In between the Pirate Planet and the Stones of Blood. Tom Baker's birthday.
Yeah.
I want a jelly baby cake.
Give me a jelly baby.
Just a big cake with jelly babies on it. The green makeup for the Swampies was specifically ordered from Germany. Unfortunately for the actors, the special solvent needed to remove the makeup wasn't ordered at the same time, so they either had to undergo chemical showers at the RAF Bentwaters or have their skin scoured in the hotel. Scored or scoured? S-C-O-U-R-E-D.
Scoured, I think.
Many had a green tinge on their skin for weeks.
Dedication to their art. Bravo.
Yeah, that explains why it looks like Ang Lee's Hulk CGI green.
And it doesn't come off in the water.
Method acting. According to the liner... Yeah, wearing paint is shit. According to the liner notes on the DVD, elements of this story were later reused in the caves of Androzani.
Well, there you go.
Maybe it was all a master plan. That after the Power of Kroll, they said, Robert Holmes, we're going to give you X amount of years to write a regeneration story. But maybe they didn't realise when Tom Baker was going to leave. And they said, and basically when they got to that, they said, we want you to write the Fifth Doctor's regeneration story, and they gave him all that time to write Caves.
Wouldn't that be great? I mean, it
would
I
explain.
It would
explain a lot.
I can buy it. I can absolutely buy it.
It's just like how Russell had 3 years to do Series 1. Or 2 years? 2 years. 2 years to do Series 1, which is what's great. But then Chibnall had 2 years to do Series 11.
But there's been no regeneration story. I wonder what a Chibnall regeneration story is going to look like. I'm fascinated by that. Anyway, moving on away from Chibnall. Let's move on to let's
talk about classic Chibnall.
Yeah, let's not talk about Series 12 or Series 13 or whenever Jody regenerates. But
Gary Watson, T.P. McKenna, and Frederick Yeager were offered to play Ranquin. I don't know any of those actors, but they look familiar, the names. John Leeson replaced Martin Jarvis as Degene. Michael Shebb was also offered Degene. Michael Hayes, not Michael B.
PSAs.
Not Michael P.S. Hayes, no. Michael Hayes was asked to direct. Imagine if it was actually Michael P.S. Hayes.
And then they asked me to direct, and I said, oh, absolutely. I'd love that. Doctor Who, I've never heard of it. Let's do it. I mean, he dresses like a Doctor Who character.
I remember my phase when I still gave a flying fuck about wrestling, when I first got the WWE Network and I watched, in chronological order, every WWE and WCW pay-per-view from 83 to 94.
Why would you subject yourself to that?
Because I hadn't seen a lot of it, and I did it, it took me ages. Like, I did it from like 2014 to 2016, 17?
16, probably.
It was like 2 or 3 years
Yeah.
I did it over the course of. But I saw a lot of Michael Hayes. A lot of Michael Hayes. So I'm very familiar with that period. But basically the point I got to was like...
Just before the Attitude Era?
No, it was 94. It was, I'm pretty sure it was, I definitely saw the Lex Luger idiot winning SummerSlam match where he beats Yokozuna by count out, doesn't win the title.
But then gets the celebration, yeah.
I definitely saw that. I think I may have seen Survivor Series as well. But
You would have seen Taker's debut in 92, Survivor Series.
Oh no, that's 90.
90?
Yeah.
Oh.
He'd already been around for ages by that point. But I don't think funnily enough, didn't quite get to 95, which is, for both companies, a shit show. So, yeah. But that's when ECW became big. It was 95. Anyway, enough talk about wrestling.
EC-fucking-W!
In a history of the universe and a history, the story is arbitrarily dated to 2878 as Kroll manifests every couple of centuries. And this is the fourth manifestation, so it's been at least 800 years since Delta Magna was colonized. A more concrete date was finally made in Diamond Dogs, which takes place in the 51st century and refers to Rom Dutt as being an active criminal. That's some really interesting lore that we didn't get in the episode.
Yeah. We got nothing.
You know, there's a Big Finish audio. It's Paul McGann's second. It's called Sword of Orion. It's the first appearance of the Sidemen in Big Finish. It's written by Nick Briggs. And it's 2.5 hours. And it's fucking boring. Like this one. But there's a spin-off called, like, a series called Cyberman.
Yeah.
That apparently is fantastic. I feel like the extended material of Power of Kroll is interesting.
Yeah.
More
yeah.
interesting than the story itself.
An expansion of the lore.
Yeah, knew the trivia would be good. The tune that the Doctor plays his reed flute is Bandineri Orchestral Suite No. 2 in B minor by J.S. Bach.
Johann Sebastian Bach, I think.
There we go. J.S. Bach. That's such a white way to say it. That was one of the highlights of the story, was that little moment.
Yeah. Well, the Doctor was just Ben the Doctor.
That's like a gif that you would have, along with the Kroll Horizon. John Leeson, regularly surprised... oh no, we've already got that. And 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 we've already got that. When script editor Anthony Reid asked Robert Holmes to write the story... yeah, that... Now things starting to make sense. Hey, Robert Holmes, can you write this story? That's happens. It really is a Chibnall, because that's exactly what happened to Chibnall with 42 and like everything else, like Dinosaurs, Spaceship, Power of 3, Hungry Earth. It's like, can you write the story for us? That's There were two requirements: that it had to include the largest monster in the series' history, and that Holmes minimised the humour that many... should have been Douglas Adams.
Fuck, this story with Douglas Adams would have been great.
If Power of Kroll was in season 17, it would be great.
It'd be delightful.
With Lalla Ward and
Yeah.
Douglas Adams.
Oh, man. We can only dream.
Oh, bastards. that many scripts from the era were known for. The second requirement was a request from the higher up at the BBC. Why would you want to make it less humorous, you fool? It's Tom Baker. Early titles for the story were Moon of Death and Horror Song. We already know this. Holmes said that he considered the idea of the large monster a mistake given the budgetary constraints of the BBC and named The Power of Kroll his least favourite Doctor Who story.
Well, there you are.
That's the bit of trivia we were waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Holmes hates this story.
That...
Because he had to write it, and he didn't want to write it.
Yeah, that checks out.
That makes so much sense. Well, that makes me feel a lot better about Robert Holmes. Fucking...
Yeah, whenever a writer is forced into a box that they're not suited to...
Yeah, because you know what? Because Bob Holmes was the script editor before Anthony Reid, and he just got told by his less talented person that came after him what to do, and he disagreed with it, and Anthony Reid's like, well, I'm the boss. And Bob Holmes is like, well, this story sucks.
This is what you get.
I'm not allowed to have a monster that's doable within the frame, and I'm not allowed to make it funny, and I don't like it, and I didn't want to do it, and I have to do the Ribos operation as well, which I love, but I had to spend all that time. Fucking... waste. What a waste. This story is a huge mistake. Okay. Philip Maddock later claimed to regret taking part in this era because his character was not as interesting as his previous appearance in The Brain of Morbius.
Ah.
I believe he plays... I think he has longer hair, and he plays like a shorter character?
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Like he's the one that... Is he the one that has the brain?
I think
at the
so.
start? I think... I recognise his face.
I think so, yeah.
It checks out. The story was transmitted over the Christmas and New Year period. Well, that makes sense. That's a good way to have it in the calendar. Of 1978 to /79, leading to higher than normal viewing figures for the episode 2, transmitted on the 30th of December. It's a shame that it was this one. The Doctor's remark, "Will there be strawberry jam for tea?" is a quotation from the story The Lumber Room by Saki. Just makes me think of Chimes of Midnight. Isn't that raspberry jam, though?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Plum pudding?
Chimes of Midnight's great.
Go check out last year's advent calendar.
Day 13 or something.
Day 24.
Day 24.
Though we probably filmed it on the 13th of December.
Yeah.
Viewership. Part 1, 6.5 million. Part 2, the one we talked about, 30th of December, 12.4. So it doubled for Part 2. Part 3, 8.9. Part 4, 9.9. Very inconsistent.
Yeah.
But because of the holiday period, I think it makes sense.
Because of the spike. Everyone's away, then they come home.
Because the Part 1 would have been the 24th.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah. Which, people will be around for, and, they watch, clearly, but obviously it wasn't that much, and then it doubled over New Year. And then... Maybe that was part of Chibnall's thinking of making it New Year specials instead of Christmas specials.
I don't know. I think that was probably... not a mistake in terms of creatively, because it means he doesn't have to do a Christmas story.
Yeah.
But in terms of the slot...
Yeah.
He should have just gone back to what Davies did and make it a story that happens on Christmas but isn't, like, Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, the Christmas Invasion has Christmas tree in it.
Yeah.
But it's not a Christmas story.
It's not a...
Runaway Bride as well.
Yeah.
And, like, End of Time has turkey in it.
Yeah.
But it's not a Christmas episode,
no.
is it?
I mean, you see Christmas trees and you see...
And it's got a funny joke when Donna's mom's like, "What are you doing here?" "Oh, Merry Christmas."
Yeah. Yeah.
Conclusion and rating out of 10 for The Power of Kroll.
Disappointing. Understandable why it is the way it is, with Robert Holmes not wanting to write it. Or at least not wanting to...
And also now we've found out he absolutely hates it.
Yeah, that it shows, and it's an unfortunate misstep, I think. It doesn't make for engaging television. It feels very held back and constrained by its own regulations set by the BBC higher-ups and the producers and stuff at that time.
Makes sense why he left for 5 years after this.
Yeah.
It's like, how dare you make me make the least interesting story ever.
Yeah,
I'm Robert fucking Holmes.
There's obviously, because it is Robert Holmes, there's still obviously a competence there. It's across the board. It's very, it's made well
because he has
on
so
a
much
technical
by
level.
this point, he has so much experience that he can just do it out of nothing.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and it's well structured and all that, and it's well acted and well directed.
But you can just tell as he was writing it, he just hated it.
And it's very passive, and it just didn't really engage me. So I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Just completely middle of the road.
So Power of Kroll is competent, and it has a story, and it has an iconic monster of sorts. There's little memes and moments, like the musical instrument, the setting's okay, and there's, you know, like that thing's fine, and then there's potential in there. The Australian character's decent, but everything else is just so routine and just
Not engaging.
the blandest Tom Baker story, unfortunately. I'm going to agree with you, 5.
Yeah.
Nothing, it's not terrible, but it's not good.
Yep.
It's just bleh.
Just middle of the road.
Yeah. So, one that I probably won't ever watch again, aside from like revisiting a few of the little moments in
Yeah.
it, but watching it as a whole, I have no motivation to, because it's just nothing.
It's not engaging.
It's nothing. So, now we get to the juicy part. In defense of the section of these Worst of Classic Who videos where we defend an episode of New Who against Hellbent. So if any of you, like I said at the start of the video, if any of you want to suggest an episode of New Who for us to defend against Hellbent, suggest it in the comments and give us a paragraph giving your sort of case for it.
Yeah.
So that we get an understanding of why you think that it's worse than Hellbent. But yeah, so this time we're going to be doing Kill the Moon from Series 8. So far we've done... we started with... Let me think. We started with End of Time, was the first one. Then we did Doctor Wynn and the Wardrobe. We did... I'm trying to remember now. We did Eaters of Light. We've done...
Love and Monsters?
No, we haven't done Love and Monsters. Did we do the Flesh two-parter?
Yes.
I think we did the Flesh two-parter. I can't remember any of the others.
Go and watch.
Let's Kill Hitler.
Let's Kill
We did
Hitler.
Let's Kill Hitler as well. But yeah, so you can go watch those if you want. And this time we're going to be doing Kill the Moon. And I haven't written down the person who did the message, not sadly, so...
If it's you.
If it's you, it's you. I'm sorry, I should have included it, but I can't see it here, so I should have done that, but whatever. But the person who suggested Kill the Moon has said, the idea of the moon is actually an egg is incredibly stupid. It might not have been as bad if it had just been a moon around another planet, but it wasn't. Both the physics and biology of the moon egg hatching, immediately laying another moon egg, and everything on Earth suddenly being fine again just doesn't work. Again, if it was a moon somewhere else in the universe, physics and biology wouldn't matter as much, but it's not. When it comes to having to make the choice whether to kill the creature or not, the Doctor doesn't just stand back and say something like, you know, there's not really a right or wrong answer to this, but because of that, it's not my choice to make. He just leaves. He leaves Clara and one of his students more or less alone on the moon 35 years in the future. Not quite as serious as the others, but because of the conflict this causes between the Clara and the Doctor, this episode is necessary to watch in order to understand what's going on in the series. Fucking spiders, why? See, the thing is, I agree with everything that this person has said, and I have problems with Kill the Moon beyond that. Like, I hate Kill the Moon. In fact, this, out of all the ones we've done so far, is one of the hardest ones for me to defend against Hellbent, because Kill the Moon's an episode I genuinely think is an absolute disaster, and there's, like, barely anything redeeming about it for me. But all I can say is that whilst Kill the Moon may be frustratingly, just stupid and horrible to watch. Comparatively to Hellbent, I know you said you have to watch it for Series 8, and that's true. You do have to watch the final scene with the Doctor and Clara to understand their arc, which I fucking don't like that anyway. But it is an episode you don't have to watch, as opposed to Hellbent, which is so dependent on the lore and has such a large impact on the show as a whole. I know we've said this for a lot of the other defenses, but I think that whilst Kill the Moon makes me as angry as Hellbent does at points, its anger doesn't last into other stories or the big, wider scope of the lore. It's purely just a self-contained mess.
Yeah, I agree. I don't hate Kill the Moon like you do. I'm very apathetic towards it, really. I've seen it once when it broadcast. I don't have any really motivation to see it again. I don't think it's good. That being said, Hellbent, as you said, its consequences in terms of the lore and subsequent and preceding stories is so far-reaching and so... its fingers get into places and sort of change things and hamper the enjoyment of things beyond just the 50-minute running time that Hellbent has. Whereas Kill the Moon is frustrating, and yes, it's part of the Clara Doctor storyline, but the thing is that storyline in Series 8 is kind of ill-focused and shifts quite a bit and not in a sort of a natural way, that you could miss this part of it and just, they had an adventure where they had an
Yeah, because if you remember... Clara leaves the TARDIS at the end, and then in Mummy and the Orient Express, she's just back.
Yeah. And I think there's one line where she's talking to Frank Skinner or whoever it is about something that's happened in regards to the Doctor. But you can still have that without having watched Kill the Moon, because you can just understand, they had a falling out of some kind. She's not used to this new version of the Doctor. Regeneration to this extreme is challenging to her. It's not essential, whereas Hellbent is a finale. Hellbent is not only a finale, but it's the return of Gallifrey, it's the return of Rassilon, which isn't actually about, which isn't inherently a bad thing, but we've gotten into that so many times. I don't want to repeat it again. We'll try and save that for when we get to it with Jake, if we ever do. But it's just a singular mess as opposed to a long-lasting one.
And it is a horrible mess, but... I guess that's because this is a hard one for me to talk about because I do hate Kill the Moon, but I don't think I'll ever be able to put it below Hellbent the way that some others do, because I know Stu Bagfull does, because it's just Hellbent has so much damage on the lore as a whole comparatively, and Kill the Moon it does damage the series arc with an 8. And, the way it connects with other episodes is really horrible and not well thought out. But it's beyond that, doesn't ruin Doctor Who. It's just one really, really, really bad episode.
Yeah.
Whereas Hellbent is catastrophic. So
yeah. I mean, I don't have much
more
to add.
I think this is one of the ones where defending is we probably haven't done the best job comparatively to others, because there's other episodes where we've done defend, like End of Time, for example, where we really came in strong.
Yeah.
But this one, I'm just a bit like, there's only really one big difference for me.
Yeah, there's one key element where it's just we're not saying it's a better or worse episode, but we say in terms of its significance within the series, Hellbent is more of a detrimental one than Kill the Moon, which for us makes it less enjoyable. Which is saying a lot, because Kill the Moon's not enjoyable at all.
But I will say, the last time I watched Kill the Moon, which was about a year ago, maybe it was like 6 months ago. I watched it with a bunch of friends who were watching for the first time. I did swear and storm out the room. I was very angry at it, but it's still not as bad as Hellbent. Because Hellbent, like I said, for the reasons we explained. So yeah, it's not really a praise of Kill the Moon, is it?
No, but nor should it be if we don't like it. As I said, I'm apathetic towards it.
There's one scene, I think it might be in the pre-title sequence, but there's one scene when they're still in the school before they've gone to the moon in the future, when Capaldi's following Clara around and he's being a smart ass, that's actually not bad.
Yeah, that's a fun little scene.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's...
Yeah, whereas in Hellbent, it's not one moment where Capaldi's good, sadly. But yeah, that's our defensive Kill the Moon against Hellbent.
Yep.
So hopefully next time we can be a bit more elaborate. But it just really was a bit hard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, is it now time to find out what's next in the Worst of Classico series?
Let's do it!
Okay.
After all these months.
Yes. Now, I just got to get out the list because it's been a while. Where is that? Apple's changed it so that instead of the most relevant, it's just lists that have that word in it, and it's not in the order that I want it. It's really stupid. Still got a lot to go. We're going to be doing this for years.
But then we'll get over the negative parts of Doctor Who
Yeah.
and we'll just move on to the...
So we have 2 Troughtons, 4 Pertwees, 5 Toms. 5 Toms! Still! He's still the most likely.
Yeah.
You know, after all this. 4 Davisons, 2 Collins, and 4 McCoys.
The real McCoy.
So how many is that? Is that 2, 6,
18.
11... 21, I think. Oh, hang on, no, let me count that again.
I don't know.
21. Yeah, there's 21 left. So, still like a 1 in 10 chance of Colin Baker.
Give me Colin.
So, it's not Tom.
Okay.
Finally, because we've had 4 Toms in a row, I think.
Yeah.
We had Nightmare of Eden, Creature from the Pit, Invasion of Time, and Power of Kroll.
Yeah.
So we've finally got a break from Tom. It's not Colin,
No.
but it is Pertwee.
Yay!
So at least that's something, right?
That is something.
And oh boy, it's the Time Monster.
Yes.
The one Roger Delgado story I have not seen in full.
Bring it on.
Oh, the Time Monster, the season 9 finale. We've done a lot of finales,
We certainly
a
have.
lot of openers.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, you've said before that you think this is a fun one.
I do.
A fun mess, but fun.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in years, but when I did see it, it's probably 2013.
It's
when I
also
last saw
got one of Pertwee's best scenes in it too.
Yeah.
That's the only scene I've seen. It's the only scene I've seen. But it's got Roger Delgado, so
Yeah.
what could possibly go wrong?
Famous last words.
I heard it's got bad green screen.
I can forgive that.
But this is hopeful because I'm sure surely, I mean, to be fair, it is a 6-parter.
Yes.
But I am hopeful.
Yes.
I am hopeful.
Fingers crossed.
So, next time on Worst of Classic Who, we'll be watching The Time Monster. And for the Advent calendar tomorrow, it'll be day 15.
Woo!
So, tune in for that. Anything else you want to say before we finish?
No.
No?
No.
Power of Kroll's rubbish-ish. It's okay.
It's fine.
It's fine. But Robert Holmes was right for hating it. But we got caves, so
Yep.
great.
Excellent.
See you tomorrow.